Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my Friday Reads video for the week. In these videos, I like to chat about the books I have finished reading, as well as the books I'm currently reading and what is like calling to me to pick up next. And so this week has been a little bit slow, and I'll show you a little bit of why that is. But let's just hop into the Friday Reads video. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to my channel if you're new here, or welcome back if you've been coming for a while. I love making these videos, and this week is no different. Actually, this week has been better. I feel like last week's Friday Reads video, I was just kind of a little bit annoyed and upset at all the books I was reading, but I am loving the books I'm reading this week. I'm loving them. So let me start with what I finished. And I've only finished one book, but that makes sense because it's only been a week since I updated you last. So the book I finished was the book I was promising that I would finish, and that is Someone I Used to Know by Paige Toon. So I found this book through Emily over at Novell Novels. It was her favorite book of 2021. I made a whole list of books I wanted to read. I'll link it above if you guys haven't seen that. But I am so happy I picked Emily's favorite. This was probably the book that was probably the most outside of my wheelhouse. I just don't tend to pick up contemporary books. But I am so stinking happy that I picked this up. So happy, you guys. This was such a sweet and moving and emotional book that I just wish I could read again. And I just loved all the characters. And so it is about this woman named, I've already forgotten, Leah. This woman named Leah who grew up in a family that fostered. So her mom and dad fostered. And so it was kind of a revolving door of kids in her childhood. She was the only biological child in that house, but her parents just really had a heart for fostering, and she was really brought along for the ride whether she wanted to or not. But there was this time in her childhood when I think she was around 12, 13, when her parents brought in a foster brother for her that was about her age, and they just really became friends, and she really got into his backstory and things like that. And around that same time there was also another boy who was not a fostered child, but he was a rich boy who got kicked out of boarding school and was now put into their school, and he kind of joined their friend group, and things went from there, and it was just awfully sweet and awfully hard. But what was really cool about this book, which I really appreciated because there was some cleverness in the timing of it, so it told the story kind of in two timelines. One's present day when she has a child and things like that, as well as back when they were all children. I just don't want to give away too much, but it is heartwarming and just heart-wrenching, just because you hear some of these stories of some of these kids and it just breaks your heart. So this was a beautiful book, an emotional book. I gave it 5 stars. It is probably going to end up on my favorites of the year just because it was just really sweet, and I really resonated with the characters. I feel like I just felt for her, especially the present day character where she's a mom and she's got some hard things she's walking through, and I just felt for her. But anyway, I highly recommend this book. Pick it up if you are interested. Although it is kind of hard to get to because it is a UK book and I couldn't get it at the library. I actually ended up ordering it off Amazon, but I was surprised I couldn't get it from the library. But anyway, such a good book. Okay, so I have a couple other books. I'm actually only reading 2 books right now, and it's these 2. And so I talked a little bit about this, so I'll get back to this. I really want to talk about this book. Guys, I'm loving this book. I picked it up a couple nights ago and I was like, oh, I'll just get started, see how I feel about it. And now it's like all I want to read. And so it's called Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I feel like it's a really popular fantasy book, fantasy series on BookTube right now, especially with the fantasy booktubers. And I understand why now, and I'm all for it. I am about, how far am I? 126 pages into it. I decided to actually tab it a bit because I'm finding with my fantasy books, especially if I know it's a series, I have some stuff that I tend to forget, and I just wanted to tab the parts that would be helpful for me as I move through the series, because there's just some parts where they give you either a little bit of the politics or they give you a little bit of the magic or instances like that. I'm not so much tabbing like emotional scenes or anything like that. I just want it more for information. But irregardless of that, I'm loving it. I am so drawn into the character of Fitz. So this is about a boy named Fitz. And in this book, he starts out at 6 years old. I think by the end, he's like a teenager. but you're just following his story as things just happen to him. And that's the hard part about it, I think, is it's like he has zero control over what's going on, and he is very much in a hard spot. So he is the bastard son of the king, or at least the king in waiting, and that is a bad thing. That's a bad thing for him because it really shakes things up in the royal family, him being revealed as a bastard. Yet he is on the premises, so lots of people are judging him and nobody wants to be his friend, so he's really lonely. I'm really liking his relationship with, say, like the stable master, I think he is called, because that's initially where Fitz gets put, and so he kind of has some hard things there, but he attaches to him. Like, you can just feel this little boy like attaching to different characters. And it's so hard because he does not have a mom or a dad or family that love him, but yet he's like this political pawn, and he has to learn how to play a game because he's kind of in a precarious position. He's not just nobody, but he is a person of influence that is negative. It's hard to explain, but it just makes him, as a like boy, to be just in these really, really hard spots. And it's just, oh, it's a little heartbreaking to read, and you're just rooting for him and you want him to like do well or just like be emotionally stable, even though you're like, how can he be emotionally stable? So I realized that was all just like a complete rant on this little boy, but I am really enjoying it. I am like hooked. Guys, I am so hooked. Like, I just want to keep reading this book. No matter if I have like chores or other things to do, I just want to read this book. And so far so good. I thought I would like this because I just really enjoy character driven books, because there's not like some big bad evil thing going on here. It's very character driven at this point. There is stuff going on for sure, but it is very much about his development and his childhood. I'm loving it. I can't wait to finish it and let you know what I think. So I'm reading this. I am reading this. And the other one I am reading, which I'm enjoying. I'm just not enjoying quite as much as that, like, but I'm really enjoying it, in all honesty. Like, it is a very good book so far. And in this one, I'm about 112 pages, so just over 100 in both of these books. And this is In the Woods by Tana French, which I talked a little bit about last week, where it's about this man who became a detective on the Dublin murder squad, but he has a past where he cannot remember an incident in his childhood where him and his friends went into the woods and his friends disappeared, and he made it back out, but something sinister happened. Anyway, he has kind of shelved that. He can't remember it, but now he's a detective, and there's a similar murder in his hometown of a 12-year-old girl, and him and his partner have been put on the case. And so there is significant tension. Like, he should tell his boss that he is like connected to this, but he's not going to, right? You know, he's not going to. And so there's this tension of the fact that that's going to come out and it's going to be bad. But it hasn't happened yet, and he just really wants to investigate it and be a part of it. He doesn't want to be kicked off, even though he's like emotionally involved and he should be kicked off, sort of idea. But I have just been enjoying them as they're like in the beginning stages of the investigation. They're learning about all the people in the town. They're learning about this family of this girl that was murdered, and there's just like some red flags there. And so I'm enjoying the like collection of information. I'm enjoying this time when we're getting to know him as a character as well as his partner Cassie. And so I'm really enjoying it. I'm feeling like it is, I wouldn't even call it slow paced. I feel like it's appropriately paced, but I feel like there are a lot of other like thrillers that maybe would have gone faster. But I kind of like how the book is spending time not only getting to know like the detective and his partner, but like the community, because I just don't know where this is going to go. I don't know how it's going to end, and I'm really, really intrigued. So this has been really fun. I'm so glad I picked it up. So that is the other book that I am currently reading. So as for what I'm going to read next, I have one thing that I want to read, and it's because it's part of a book club that I'm a part of. And so I want to read it by the end of the month, and I also just really want to read it. Like, I'm so happy this one won the poll on which one we were going to read, and that is The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. And I've heard really good things about this book. Like, it has a really fast pace. It's really interesting. It's about this man who goes missing, but he leaves a message for his wife that I believe says, like, protect her in regards to his teenage daughter, which is not a daughter in that marriage. I think it was from a previous marriage. But anyway, the wife and the daughter team up to find him. And I think the authorities aren't really interested in finding him, or they like wrote it off or something like that. But these two ladies are looking into it and they're finding things that they did not expect. They're finding out that he is not who they thought he was. And that just sounds great. I love that kind of a mystery where it just kind of reveals some stuff and reveals some stuff and you're just like, who is he? Like, what is going on? So I'm going to pick this up next, and I'm hopefully gonna be able to finish these two and pick this up by the end of March. I think I'll be able to do it, but that is definitely as much as I can pick up. And so I have been a bit distracted, which I was going to tell you about. So I've been going to the library. So this is book distracted, but it is cookbooks. So I've been distracted by a number of cookbooks, which I'll show you just in a second, because I have just hit a point in my life where I just want to feel healthier. I want to have more energy. I want to not stress eat. All these things. I feel like I've kind of let that get out of control and it feels out of control. And so I want to rein it back in. I used to have some amazing like eating habits where I was good at choosing vegetables and portion control and things like that, where it was like not a big deal. And then I had all my kids and then I had the twins and it was just stressful. And now we kind of have more stress going on in our lives. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of like waiting to do something. So that was a little bit of an intro, but I picked up some books because I'm just trying to figure out how I want to help myself. And for those of you who have looked into different like cookbooks and eating styles, it is like so hard. Everything contradicts each other. But I have just kind of some general things that I really like. Like I am not interested in a restrictive eating plan of any kind. I feel like there are good aspects of all the different food groups and things like that. So it's just figuring out how to like get the most nutrition out of my food. So like this book has probably been the most like inspirational. It's called The Nourished Kitchen: Farm to Table Recipes for Traditional Food Lifestyle. When it talks like traditional food, that just means a lot of like fermentation and soaking your grains and things like that, which I think is a great idea. I'm not sure if I can totally pull that off, if you will. So I feel like that's something that I'm going to draw bits and pieces from, but I feel like I need more of a baseline, something to set up my eating. So like I'm leaning more towards like a paleo idea, and only in the sense of it focuses more on vegetables and really sourcing quality food, like nutritious food, like good eggs, good beef, good butter, like organic as much as you can, because that's the other thing, we're on a budget and I can't like go crazy, but I feel like it's worth it. So I'm like contemplating all that stuff. So anyway, I've just been so distracted by so many different cookbooks. So this one's a mostly plants book, and it's based off of that quote. What's that quote? Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. That idea. I've always been inspired by that. So I'm not sure. I feel like I'm kind of at the beginning stages. I am definitely a researcher. It's my personality. I like to kind of like dive into stuff, learn a bunch, and then decide how I'm going to proceed. So I'm like trying little things. Like I'm not jumping into anything. But anyway, I thought I would just share that in case anybody was interested, because I have not done as much reading because I've been reading cookbooks, which just is crazy to me because I just don't normally do that. But I feel like I want to make a change. And I don't know if I'm going to share more about that on my channel. Sometimes I really want to. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I'll share what I eat in a day or a grocery haul or like things like that. I don't know if anybody would be interested in it. I feel like it would probably be on this channel because this is my Angie Henderson channel and the other channel is homeschooling. I don't know though. Sorry for this big ramble. Let me know down below if you have any thoughts or feelings. It's mostly just me verbally processing. I probably shouldn't do that towards the camera, but that's what I'm doing this morning for my Friday Reads video. Anyway, those are the books, some cookbooks, but other books that I'm just really liking. I'm having a really good reading week, and I would love to know what you're up to, what you're reading. Do you have any thoughts on whether I should share more of this like health journey I'm trying to start for myself, or if I should just stick to books? I don't know. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. I would love to know your thoughts. And if you love Friday Read videos, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want to. But otherwise, guys, I will see you in the next book video. Okay, have a good day.